We know how to party, but the government knows how to screw everything up, even legal weed. That was supposed to be great. But according to Politico, the Golden State's legal cannabis industry is very frustrated with all the red tape and regulations and taxes. Businesses were promised a much better deal when weed was fully legalized in 2016. Gavin Newsom's proposed tax cuts have barely changed the price of marijuana. The black market's still offering customers much better bargains. So how can the state help licensed shops? Joining me now to discuss, Ananda Strategy founder and California Cannabis Chamber of Commerce chair, Hirsh Jain. He is back. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, Kennedy. Thanks for having me.
So this was always a bad idea, and they had seen other states legalize recreational marijuana like Colorado, but California just had to get way too greedy with the taxes, and they've known for some time that it's actually making the environment worse and less safe. So there's been a little easing of the cannabis tax, but it's not enough, is it?
No, it isn't. And, just for context, when voters legalized cannabis via Prop 64 in 2016, their intent was to replace the illegal cannabis market with a legal, regulated, and safe cannabis market. But years later, the illegal market, rather than shrinking, has actually grown. It's now estimated to be $10 billion. And that's because cannabis is taxed 5 or 6 times before it reaches the end consumer in California. And, as a result of that, it's almost impossible to run a legal cannabis business in California and make any money. And consumers, who are often price sensitive, have a huge disincentive to purchase on the legal market. And so, where we are today is there are huge swaths of the state that are dominated by cartels that are growing cannabis illegally, destroying California's environment, and really selling safe and untested products to consumers.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because you also don't know what kind of fertilizers and what kind of antimicrobials they're spraying. They're certainly not using products that have been tested, and they're using the cheap stuff in order to kill the things that might infringe upon their crops. And that could be very, very bad for consumers because you don't know what's in it. And that was the point of having a legal system, is you could go into a dispensary and you could get exactly what you wanted in the ratio that you wanted, and the packaging would be adorable. But when it is 3 times as much as what you can get from a dealer, why would you spend that kind of money? And you know what the problem is? This idea of stakeholders, that everyone in California has their hand out, and they have been promised that they would be enriched by the cannabis industry for essentially doing nothing, and they're the ones who lobby to keep the taxes in place, and they are making this environment less safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as you noted, Kennedy, look, California did just pass, a cultivation tax cut. So out of the 5 or 6 taxes that are imposed on legal cannabis in California, they eliminated one of them. And look, that's a good thing, right? Legal cannabis is now selling for about $300 a pound in California, and that cultivation tax was $160 a pound, making it nearly impossible to cultivate cannabis profitably. So it's a good thing that that cultivation tax was eliminated. And I'll just note that, all other states that have legal cannabis, they don't impose that kind of a cultivation tax. And, no other agricultural commodity in California is subject to that tax. So it's a good thing that that cannabis tax, cultivation tax is gone. But still, that hasn't solved the problem. Legal cannabis in California is still subject to a 15% excise tax, an 8 to 10% local excise tax, a 10% sales tax, and then local cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution taxes. And so legal cannabis is still not cost competitive. And so although it's a good thing those taxes are eliminated, there's many folks in Sacramento that act as if the problem has been solved, when in practice it hasn't been solved. California needs to do much more to address that issue.
Amen. And, I know your group is working to get it on the ballot, and hopefully there will be reforms, because you want to keep people safe, you want to keep the industry alive. It is a great tax base when it is fair and not highway robbery. Hirsh, thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.